Hi, everybody. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to today's Facebook Live. I'm Lisa Smith, the Peaceful Parent, and I go live every Thursday around 9 a.m. Pacific time in Real World Peaceful Parents. And I just come on, talk about a different topic, stimulate some ideas, some tips, some coaching for you all. I think this is especially important to do right now during this little bit of a crazy time, this whatever you want to call it, uncertain time, new normal, during the pandemic, the shelter in place. It's really a time where we're parenting now more than ever. And I like to say that, it takes a village to raise our kids, and you are now the village, right? Everything's been stripped away except for you parenting your kids. And for a lot of us, we've become everything to our children. We're the teacher, we're the person who makes sure they get homework done, we're the playmate, we're the organizer of their activities. We have become everything. We're the soccer coach in the backyard, we're the PE teacher, we're the lunch lady, we're preparing the lunch, we're serving the lunch. And for many of us, we're also working a full-time job while we're doing this. Sorry, I'm just pulling up this Facebook Live on my iPad so that I can see the comments if there are any. I'd love it if you're here live. I'd love for you to come and say hi to me so that I can interact with you, but otherwise I'll just keep going. So, it takes a village to raise our kids, and we're now the village. That's us, full-time job. We're everything. And here's the thing that I want you to know. Your kids, pretty much at any age, are hardwired for fun. Fun. And in their minds, they don't really care or have the capacity to care that you're working from home, or that you have a big meeting coming up, or that you need to get things done. It just, their brain is so underdeveloped unless children are adultized and living in a situation where they're needing to care for other children or care for themselves or help put food on the table. I'm talking really traumatic situations. I'm not just talking about a family that has a lot of chores. Unless they're in that situation, they're just hardwired to entertain and to have fun and to enjoy life. And so it requires some, on our part as parents, some organization, some extra patience, some understanding, and some planning. You cannot tell your kids in the morning that you have a big meeting at 4 o'clock and they need to stay out of your office at 4 o'clock. They're not going to remember that. If that's important to you, let's say you have a big meeting, a Zoom call coming up this afternoon at 2 o'clock. It is a good idea to start talking about it in the morning, but I also want you to remember that by 2 o'clock, they are not going to remember it. So what you need to do is you need to plan for it all day. You need to remind them. You need to create a system. Maybe you take a piece of paper and a red piece of construction paper, and you write, something like important meeting on the front of it. And when you have a meeting that they absolutely can't come into, if they come in the room, they need to be, seen and not heard kind of thing, you put this red sign up on the door. And right before the meeting starts, you go over it with them. And you explain to them that you need, 50 minutes or until the big hand reaches the top kind of thing, if they can tell time. Mommy needs to have an important meeting and I need you to help me. You also want to try to make this conversation fun for them. Can we play a contest where you don't come in and interrupt me, and when we're done, we'll go for a bike ride, or we'll get a toy out of the dollar toy basket. Maybe you go to the dollar store and you get some little things for them to play with that would be fun. And you say, listen, at the end of this, you don't say if you're good, you just say at the end of this, we're going to pick a toy out of the toy basket. But I really need, and so the game is, I need maximum cooperation right now. Hey, Courtney, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Anybody else that wants to come say hi, please do. Absolutely. Let's interact. So it's the idea that you cannot tell your kids at 8 o'clock in the morning that you have an important meeting at 2 o'clock that day and expect that they're going to be compliant. Also throughout the day, I would be spending, I like to say with kids, it's quantity, not quality. You don't need to spend an hour with them. But if you have something really important going on, invest in them throughout the day. Make little deposits. Make sure that you sit down at lunchtime with them for 10 or 15 minutes and have your lunch away from your desk and phone. Maybe play a game with them in the morning. Maybe right before the meeting, play a game with them for a little bit, or do something together. Go for a walk outside. That's a really good one. Get some water and go for a walk outside. And then when you come in during the meeting, put a movie on for them, right? Don't have them watch a movie all day or in the morning, because then chances are by the 2 o'clock hour, they're going to be bored, right? So you kind of have to plan for these events, because remember, you're now the village. You're everything to these kids. Oh, Michaela, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. You've become the village. In the past, you had coaches and teachers and the lunch lady and the PE teacher and the bus driver, and you had people to supplement and help. And right now, because we're at home, we're the village. So you have to kind of be planning your day all day for this important meeting and getting work done. But you also have to be planning for them. And, it's not going to work out really well, typically, if you're in your office all day, not interacting with your kids, not plodding along, not, planning for this big 2 o'clock meeting. Because again, they're hardwired for fun. And what happens sometimes is you get on a meeting on Zoom, or you start talking to somebody. Maybe you have a hour-long meeting scheduled with your boss, right? And all of a sudden, like, the energy shifts in the house, and they notice this. And they're like, oh, now this is happening in their subconscious brain. But it's like, oh, she's giving attention to someone else. I think I'd like some of that attention. And they come in the office and they start goofing off, or they won't go in the other room, and you start to get frustrated. So I think it's really helpful to consider, how can I structure my day for myself and my kid? How are we going to work this out, right? Maybe you do homeschooling in the morning and they get all their work done, and then you go for a walk, and then you have lunch, so that at 2 o'clock, when you have this big important meeting, you have them sit on the couch and watch a movie for a little bit. And that's the first time that day they've had any access to technology. So that's fresh and exciting to their brain, and they're stimulated by that while you go and do your meeting. Does this make sense to you guys? Tell me what you think. Give me some comments in the comment section. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and give me some comments here. It's just really important that we remember that our kids are hardwired for fun. And, they have fun at school all day. I mean, teachers make the learning fun. They play games, they move around, they do things in short attention span bursts. They have treats in between, they have snack, or they'll sing songs, or they'll watch a movie, or they go outside and have recess, right? So schools are peppering learning. First of all, they try to make learning fun as best they can. And then they pepper the learning in between bouts of fun and entertainment. And so, I think that this is how we have to run our home right now, having our kids at home all day with us while trying to get other things done. We have to, good morning, Jill. So glad to have you here. We have to be practical and realistic, and we have to balance the village, right? We have to kind of have a plan. And again, we can't tell them at 8 o'clock in the morning that we have an important meeting at 2 o'clock that afternoon. I mean, it just isn't going to land on them. They're not going to remember. I mean, they hear it and it goes out of their mind, poof. And they probably don't even understand what it means to have an important meeting, depending on how old they are, right? If they're under like probably 13, you're like, oh, Michaela, I have a really important meeting today at 2 o'clock, and I need you to stay out of my office and stay really quiet while I'm working. That doesn't mean, they're probably like, oh, mom's going to have a play date. Let's see if I can join in, right? It doesn't really have the same, because they have an underdeveloped brain, it doesn't have the same impact for their brain as it has for ours. So let's recap here what we've talked about. Hi, Sonia. So glad to have you here. Let's talk. So we've talked about kids are hardwired for fun, right? You can't tell them something in the morning and expect them to remember in the afternoon. You need to make little deposits in them all day. Quantity, not quality. If you're working from home, set a timer, get up every hour for 10 minutes and go do something with your kids, right? Play a game, walk to the mailbox, walk outside, take a quick little bike ride, set the table for dinner together, right? You can set the table for dinner at 2 o'clock in the afternoon with placemats and napkins and plates and forks. And that's an activity for 10 minutes the two of you could do together. Fold laundry, have them match socks, right? It doesn't have to all be things that are unproductive around the house. You can do things together, right? Play a quick little card game, start a Monopoly game and play 10 minutes every hour. Make little investments in them all day, whether you have an important meeting or not. And then let's say you do have something really important. You're going to have a phone call. You volunteer and you have a committee meeting, or you have a work meeting, or you're going to talk to a friend that you really haven't talked to in a long time and you're excited. Invest in them right before you get on the call, right? Say, listen, I'm going to have a call right now. I'm going to put a movie on for you. I'm going to do the call. And when the call's over, we're going to have an afternoon snack together. I have a little, go to like I recommended, go to the dollar store and get a little basket of things. And after the meeting, they get to pick one of them. Or you get to do something together that they really, really, really love. Maybe you're going to color together or something like that, right? So you're investing in them and you're setting the expectation. And then the last thing I recommend, if you are working from home, right? And let's say that I had this happen recently with a client. She is working from home, and normally she's not on Zoom. She's not presenting. Her daughter can kind of come and go in the office. This particular client, her and her husband are both working from home. And the daughter kind of wanders around the house all day. But there are an occasion where the mom is presenting on Zoom. And she's in sales and she's presenting to customers. And she needs the daughter to let her do this uninterrupted. So we talked about making a sign. So she went and she bought some red construction paper and they decorated it with stickers. And it says, mommy in meeting, do not interrupt. And when she has these couple of really important meetings a week, she tapes the sign up. And right before the meeting, she reviews it with her daughter. So her daughter's clear. It's like, while this red sign is up, I really, really, really need you to not come in. And she tries to make it fun. She makes it a game. And if you're able to stay out during the meeting afterwards, we'll be able to really go do X, right? Go down to the pond and feed the ducks. Her daughter loves that. So they get in the car right after the meeting and they go down to the pond and they feed the ducks. She doesn't punish her daughter if the daughter comes in, but she motivates her with carrot. When I'm able to complete this meeting successfully, then we're going to get in the car, we're going to drive down to the pond, we're going to feed the ducks. And so then she follows through. She gets in the car and they go straight away, and the daughter's brain learns, oh, when that red sign is up, that's a good thing, because afterwards I get to do something really fun with my mom that I enjoy doing. So I hope you guys find this helpful. Leave some comments in the chat box for me if you're watching the recording. Again, the point of this was to come on and just remind all of us. Our kids don't care about meetings. They don't care that we have to work. They don't care about, things like structure. And it's not because, they're bad kids or they don't really care. It's that their brain doesn't have the capacity to understand this, because as children, they're hardwired for fun, enjoyment, pleasure. Their needs center around that, playing, right? And depending on what age they are, whether it's structured play or unstructured play, whether it's by themselves or with someone else, they're also just hardwired to get their needs met. Attention, autonomy, affection. And when we're giving attention to something like a Zoom call, suddenly their brain goes, oh, I'll have a piece of that. I'll have a piece of the attention pie. And they wander in. So prepare for that. Know that going in and have a game plan. This can be a game changer for you, where you feel like, okay, I know what to do. I have a plan. It may not go perfect, but you at least have a plan and you've done the absolute best you can to prepare and figure out how to peacefully work and peacefully parent during this shelter in place time. All right. I'm just going to kind of pause here for a moment and see if any of the people that are joining me live have any comments they want to make about this, or any questions. I'd love to see if you guys have any comments or questions that I can answer before I sign off. And let's see. Okay, so Michaela's saying this does make sense. Courtney's saying, yep, makes sense. They need attention before they expect them to cooperate with your schedule. Yes, Courtney, well done. Exactly. They do need attention before they will cooperate with your schedule, because they're not on your schedule, right? They don't have the sense of time. They, you know, our prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed until about the age of 25. And part of that is executive function, which is the ability to see a couple steps ahead, right? This is why kids live at home until their brains almost fully developed. Otherwise, you know, they wouldn't know. If kids were living out on the street, they wouldn't remember to take lunch with them to school, right? Or you know, their brain doesn't go, oh, if I don't grab a lunch and pack it, I don't eat, right? Their brain doesn't work like that. So when we're talking about a schedule, that means nothing to them. You know, they're thinking about things like Legos and Paw Patrol and even teenagers, you know, social media, getting on their whatever app they're using, right? They're not thinking, they're not registering, oh, right, okay, mom has a meeting today at 2. Usually I'm doing this. I need to ask her about that, right? It just, so I think just having an understanding of that will help us all create a roadmap on how to peacefully coexist during this time, how to create connection and cooperation with our kids, even during this uncertain time. Yeah? Okay. I think I hope you guys find this helpful. Again, leave me some feedback in the chat if you will, please. I'll be back next week. Same time, same place with another topic. I'm really trying to focus on topics right now that pertain to, you know, whatever's going on, sheltering in place, parenting under this uncertain time in North America and in parts of Europe. You know, we're going to go back to school in the fall. And for many, 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 many of us, school is going to start with our kids at home. And so I really want to try to provide tips and ideas and coaching that are going to assist you in creating peace and harmony in the home, even during this uncertain time. So it's a pleasure to be here today. I'll see you guys next week, and I'm wishing you peaceful parenting. Take care.